Hello, Padawans. Welcome to week 10, not week 11, like I said on Wednesday. Some days it doesn't pay to get out of bed, does it? I am currently 95, 43, and 1. That places me in a tie with Ryan Wilson at CBS and ahead of everyone else at CBS and everyone at ESPN. Let's see. We are going to go. I did get a chance to review the injury report, and some teams are worse than others in this regard. Um, it's going to be a bloodbath for some teams. It's just, some of them, it's brutal. Let's start with Atlanta at Indianapolis. Both teams are banged up a bit. I'm going to go with Indiana because they're at home. Atlanta is a hard team to predict. They will beat a great team and then they will lose to somebody bad. It's the nature of the parody of the NFL, I suppose. Cleveland at New York Jets. This one was hard. Both teams are bad. It it's it's hard to pick, and it's the toilet bowl. I mean, people have always joked about that. I'm gonna go with Cleveland because they just have a little bit better defense. But this one could go either way. Uh, New Orleans at Carolina. I went with Carolina because they're at home and just slightly healthier. New England at Tampa Bay. I had Tampa Bay originally, but whew, there's just too many injuries for Tampa Bay right now, including one of their better running backs. I know because he's on my fantasy team. He's been benched since week 4. Maybe I should have cut him, but he's better than anybody on the waiver wire. So I'm sticking with him. Irving is my one of my running backs. Um, but yeah, I'm going with New England on this one. You know, I've been doing this all season long. I didn't know that New England is 7-2. Wow, well done. Like I wasn't really paying too much attention to overall records, I guess. I'm just going week to week picking the teams, and New England, you guys are doing pretty good. Um, let's see, Baltimore at Minnesota. I'm going with Minnesota at home. Um, I just think that they're a little better team right now than Baltimore is, and they have the home field advantage. And the Vikings' home field advantage is pretty good. Now, one thing to note, there are several teams that are probably going to be looking for quarterbacks next year. And my team, the Cardinals, is deciding to stick with Drew Petzing, the inventor of the prevent offense, over their quarterback, Kyler Murray. Never mind that he's suffered with no guard help at all, so the rush up the middle has been just devastating. Couldn't choose whether to say debilitating or devastating. Almost came up with an amalgamation of the two on that one. Minnesota, Pittsburgh, and there was one other team, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. All three of those teams are going to be net. The Raiders are another one that could use a quarterback. And Kyler Murray is dynamic. Problem with Arizona is he's had 4 coaches, I think, in 7 years. And one of them called his own plays, Cliff Kingsbury. And he didn't figure out how to call an NFL offense until after he left the Cardinals. And Drew Petzing is terrible. I've been calling for him to lose his job since week 4 of last year. Last week against the Cowboys on Monday Night Football was the first time Drew Petzing has called a good game since I've been watching him call games in Arizona. That's just not acceptable. I get Jonathan Gannon has loyalty to Drew Petzing because he's a friend, but he's going to sink the ship, and the captain's going down with the ship. They always do, right? Anyway, I just wanted to mention that while I was thinking about it. But there's going to be a team that's going to get a great quarterback that has not had the kind of support offensively from the coaching staff or the offensive line around him since he came into the league. He's had to do it all himself. And that, he's often succeeded and often failed. But that's a lack of leadership. And I love my Cards, but they've got 127 years of mediocrity behind them. I'm going to go with the player. He has some flaws, but somebody's going to get a dynamic quarterback. And they're going to get him dirt cheap, probably, for a second or third round pick. He was the first overall pick for a reason. Anyway, that's my little rant for the day. Everybody here in Arizona is ranting about how he needs to go. None of them know anything about football. My record speaks for itself. Okay, let's see. The Buffalo Bills at Miami. Gonna go with Buffalo on this one. Miami's a little more banged up than Buffalo is. Giants at Chicago. Okay, I've been joking about MASH units all season long. This game is freaking Ramstein. If you don't know what Ramstein is, it's a military installation in Germany when soldiers would get injured in Qatar or Afghanistan or Iraq. They would get sent to the UAE and then they would get transferred to Ramstein. So the MASH unit was in Qatar, and then they would get transported when stabilized to Ramstein for recovery. Wow, these two teams have a lot of injuries. I mean, it didn't even include IR players. I don't know why the injury report doesn't continue to include injured reserve players. It really should for this purpose, but maybe they don't for a reason. I'm not technologically savvy, but if there's somebody out there that wants to create a page that's useful for gamblers, do that. Create a page that has both injured reserve and current injured players because it's useful information. Anyway, I went with Chicago because they're at home and New England. I know that the New York Giants are missing Malik Neighbors and Cam Scatabo. So throwing those two onto the injured list makes it even worse than it already is. So I'm going to go with Chicago just based on home field advantage and literally nothing else. Jacksonville at Houston. Again, Houston's another team that's in Germany right now and they don't know it. Their quarterback is out without CJ Stroud. I don't see them holding up to Jacksonville, who's also banged up, but they've got their quarterback. And if you have a quarterback and your other team doesn't, you're going to probably go with the team that has a quarterback. Arizona at Seattle. Arizona's missing two of their best secondary players and the heart and soul of the defense. Their middle linebacker, Max Wilson. They are a little banged up on the defensive side of the ball. That doesn't bode well being in Seattle. I would have loved to have gone with them, but the drama around Kyler Murray, putting him on injured reserve, makes me think either they are thinking about trading him and don't want him to get further injured, or his ankle is worse than we thought it was. It may be a Lisfranc injury, and that's where the heel is separated. The foot is separated from the leg, and that's a serious injury. It's an equestrian injury, and there have been several this year. I think James Conner, sorry. I always do the Jonathan because of Terminator and it gets stuck in my head. Sorry about that. I'm blaming COVID fog on that a little, but it's mostly my brain and I've never really been good at names. But yeah, there have been several injuries of this nature this year, and that's scary. I don't know if there's a solution to that other than putting some kind of a strap around the shoe that goes up to the lower leg. But even that, it could be, it could reduce the flexibility, speed, and dynamics of a professional athlete. but having several of those injuries is scary. And just if you want to reference, Garrison Hurst, he had that injury and he was out for like 2 years before he came back with the Niners. He was with the Cardinals and had that injury, and it ended his term with the Cardinals. And then he ended up playing well for the Niners, but there was a 2-year gap in there for that injury. So this is definitely something for the NFL to be a bit concerned about. Um, anyway, I'm going to go with Seattle, much to my dismay. It's going to make my best friend happy because one of my best friends, my college buddy, he is a diehard Seahawks fan. So this one's for you, Perry. Yeah, Seahawks. Detroit at Washington. Again, both teams are banged up, but Jaden Daniels is out. So I'm going with Detroit on the road in Washington. We have the Rams at the Niners. My first inclination with Niners because I can't pick them right. They've been killing me all season. In fact, of my 43 losses, at least 6 of them have to be the Niners. So I'm going to go with the Niners, but it could be Rams. I mean, the injury report looks a little better for the Niners, but again, they aren't including injured reserve. So, and I don't know the Niners roster well enough to know who's on injured reserve. I do know that I've been waiting for the one wide receiver to come back all season. Can't remember his name, but he's on my fantasy team. I took him like in the 10th round, so I thought, hey, end of the season, I'll have a really good player that should be a starter. He's still not on the team yet because he still ain't playing. All right, Pittsburgh at the Chargers. This one, I tried to find a way to take Pittsburgh, but the Chargers, they just look a little healthier and they're at home, and they're playing really well. Philadelphia at Green Bay. I initially went with Philadelphia, and I'm sticking with them because everybody seems to be practicing. I think they had 2 limited players, but everybody else had a full practice. Nobody's listed as questionable or out with either team because it's a Monday game, and they don't release that until tomorrow, I believe. My final score is 30-24, 54 points. Again, like and subscribe if you can. I've doubled my subscriptions over the past couple of weeks, so thank you to those of you who are new and supporting. And have a safe weekend. And thanks for the support. I'm hoping to get to maybe 500 by the end of the season. That'd be awesome. Like I've told a couple of times before, I had to start over because I lost my account that had almost 10,000 followers on TikTok. And then I lost my second account on TikTok when I got over 1,000. So they didn't even allow me an appeal. Like I just got banned within an hour, and that's not a way. That's no way to treat the people who are promoting or your content creators. So not really interested in going back, but I do appreciate those of you who are supporting me. Have a wonderful weekend, and let's go. Let's have some football.